The James Show Podcast.
And some sick part of me wants this Mamdani guy to win as mayor of New York City, primarily because it would be great content for the show.
New York City!
But also it'd be nice to have some textbook examples of things to not do, things that I can show my kids. Look, remember how I told you the XYZ economic law, and he's doing the opposite, and what's going to happen? So for the sake of New York City, though, I hope he doesn't win. He's one of these guys that talks about, well, price of rent's too high. We should do rent control. It's like, oh, dude, have you not read how that works? Everywhere it's tried. Have you not read how that's a failure? Have you not read? Oh, my goodness gracious. Have you talked to the people of New York City now who have experience with rent control? It's a thing, man. But in this one, he's really outdoing himself, and he's not even mayor yet. So there was the shooting that happened. 4 people died when a crazy person drove all the way in from Las Vegas to New York City to attack the NFL headquarters. He was self-diagnosing with CTE, brought a gun, went to the wrong lobby, shot up a bunch of people, 4 dead, including an NYPD officer. Mamdani was at his wedding in Uganda, which should have anyone questioning his real loyalties toward our country or the city that he wants to represent and lead. But man, when he came back, he made it even worse. He made this shooting all about gun control. That's his takeaway.
And as New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and Americans across the country mourn this mass shooting, we are reminded that no matter how strong our gun laws are in this state, we are only as safe as the weakest laws in this nation.
Ah, that's you. That's us.
And so in this moment, the onus is on all of us to follow the words of Alain's brother and to put forward a vision of stronger gun laws. And I echo the call from Governor Hochul for a nationwide ban on assault rifles, as it is horrifying to each and every one of us in this room and beyond that a man with such documented mental health struggles was able to purchase a weapon, leave alone a weapon of such devastating capability.
There you go. He's coming after your guns. You see, he's not concerned with the gun laws in New York City. He's already admitting they have failed. And the reason they have failed is, well, there's not any kind of shortcoming with gun control or gun laws or the attempt at restricting criminals' access to guns. The problem is with you, flyover state American, and how you don't share his policy preferences when it comes to guns. And so he's making the point that gun control doesn't work because bad guys willing to break the law will get a gun outside of New York City and bring it into New York City and use it. Now, if only the rest of the country had the laws of New York City, this could have been avoided. That's amazing. I mean, it brings in, first off, like 8 obvious logical fallacies that we have with almost every gun control discussion. Number one, there's not a gun control law that you can write that forces a criminal to comply with it. They're already criminals. They're not going to comply. Couple of other fallacies there. Oh, yeah, the gun control laws didn't create a magic force field around the citizens of New York City. So not only do we not repeal the laws that have already failed, we trying to expand the failed laws' reach into all of America. This also breaks what's sort of a social contract where, hey, for the people out here in rural East Texas, we won't tell the people of New York City how to live their life. You don't tell us how to live our lives. If you want to ban guns, we're not going to go to New York City and try and get y'all to change your laws. We'll just let you be. Watch from a distance. Giggle on TV when you keep being proven wrong over and over. But you can't just leave us alone, can you? Your ideology forces you to constantly be up in our grill about the decisions we make, about our freedoms. You know, they're constantly trying to change your lifestyle. They are constantly trying to come out into the hinterlands and make sure you don't buy the car that you want. You don't get to choose the school that you prefer. They don't even want you to choose your own straw. But no, guns, he's got to come up and we got to get a national assault rifle ban. Another obvious logical fallacy in the gun control debate. Show me a firearm incapable of assault. It's such a dumb adjective. You don't know anything about guns, so you just think if we put this other adjective in front of it, it'll make it even more scary. No, I'm not coming after guns, just assault guns. Oh, really? You're not coming after massage guns? You're not coming after heat guns? We know what you're talking about. And it's just the same old claptrap, except this time it's coming from a non-American who just got married in Uganda, came back to tell us we don't deserve our gun rights. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. It was pointed out that when he was at his compound in Uganda getting married over the weekend with his friends and family around him, what did he have? Around the compound was a wall. Oh, you put a wall on a boundary when you want to stop the flow of unwanted people across that boundary? Wow. That's amazing. And so for the people that were established on the wall and at the gates, the entrances and exits of the compound, what did they have? They had guns. Well, did they have regular guns? Did they have a massage gun? Did they have a Nerf gun? Did they have a squirt gun? No, they had assault rifles. And just like an animal farm, he's one of the pigs. Walls are good for him, not good for you. Assault weapons are good for him, not good for you. Safety is good for him, not good for you. We're just responding here to the New York shooting. Had the New York leading candidate for their next mayor come back and say, well, I guess that means we need more gun control. And not in New York City. He's calling for a nationwide ban on assault guns. Well, would you rather this been done with a semi-automatic gun? Oh, that is an assault gun? Well, then how is that different than pretty much every gun that's used in crime? Unless it's a revolver or you got a single shot. Is that what you have? You have a bolt action hunting rifle that you're committing crime with? No, that doesn't happen. But we were going through some of the obvious logical fallacies here, but most of them just pop up in most gun control arguments. I also like to pull up the fallacies that are ignored at times like this. Hey, this guy that shot up and killed 4 people in Manhattan, did he get it at a gun show? Huh? Did he use the gun show loophole? Is that what he did? Did he go out and have a private transaction without a background check in the parking lot of a gun show? Because we're told the gun show loophole is super serious, and we've been needing to close that thing for years because, dude, has any crime ever been committed from a gun bought on the gun show loophole? Yeah, so there's all kinds of things that are brought up, but it's just the same old gun control argument, except this one is applied to you. Somehow this is your fault because you have your full complement of constitutional rights. The people of New York City aren't safe, and they're not going to be safe until we take your rights away. No, thank you. This is Stan in Arlington. You're on WBAP.
Hi, James. I was just thinking maybe we could do what we've done here in most of the local places, make a gun-free zone. That seems to... Oh, well, never mind. No, that didn't work.
Yeah, that's another good one. Why don't you just make it a gun-free zone? I'm pretty sure it already is a gun-free zone. You know, and again, like, go into what was happening, I guess about 10 years or so ago. Stan, do you remember when the Texas legislature made it legal for adults to conceal carry their weapon on college campuses? Remember that?
Yes.
And what were we told 10 years ago when that law was being debated and passed? Well, this is just going to make our campuses unsafe. And now our campuses are going to have to worry about gun crimes. How many gun crimes have been committed on campus from a concealed carry holder since that law passed, Stan?
From a concealed carry holder? Golly,
oh, it's zero. You know, it's zero. Yeah. And did we have more or less shootings on college campuses since that law has been passed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the no difference, actually. Statistically exactly the same. It never works, but they just keep throwing it out there like it's going to work this time. Like, Stan, why don't you get it? We just need to make it a gun-free zone. We got to do something. We can't do anything, Stan.
None of it works.
I wish it did. I really wish it was. If I could just, like, hand over my Second Amendment rights and we had absolute safety from gun crimes, I would consider it. But it's such a no-brainer in the fact that it doesn't work anyway. Giving up your rights doesn't work. It hasn't worked. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. If you want to jump in just like Stan did. Another thing I saw Trump getting asked about this week, the idea of a rebate check from the tariffs. The tariffs are bringing in records amount of revenue as far as tariffs go. And the surplus, we had a surplus last month because of the tariff revenue. We actually brought in more money than we spent at the federal level. And so the discussion comes, well, couldn't we just divvy that up and everyone gets a check for like $200 or $150 or $300 or whatever it is? And I know it's always going to be tempting for you and me as human beings to take a check. But a tariff rebate check isn't free money. You'll pay for it dearly. I was trying to make this argument during COVID when the idea went out, whoa, we got to send out COVID checks. Yeah, everyone's going to get $600. Every person in the household, for every person that lives in your household, you're going to get $600. Well, myself and Miss Parker have 4 kids. We got $3,600. It's a great deal at the time. However, for the rest of our lives, we have to pay 25% more for groceries than we otherwise would have. We have already paid that money back and more, and we will continue paying for it for the rest of our lives. There is no such thing as free money when you're in this situation. And it's like, well, why'd you add when you're in this situation? Well, if we already had the national debt completely paid off and we didn't have a deficit, we were running even, and then we got a surplus of money from tariffs, well, then that money could be distributed among us with no negative consequences on the overall money supply, M3 or M6, and therefore inflation. But we are not there yet, are we? No, we're still running a $2 trillion annual deficit, so any money that we have above what we're expecting needs to go to pay that. And if we do ever get that deficit solved on the annual basis, we have $37 trillion of debt that's hanging over our head. And if we have one extra dollar, it needs to go toward that before we ever get a dime of it. So let's not be fooled by this again. Of course it's tempting. Of course it sounds good. Of course in the short term, it actually does help. But in the long term, no thank you. We all got a 25% pay cut from the COVID checks. Was that worth it? Would you rather have the spending power of your dollar as it existed 5 years ago? Of course you would. You could buy 25% more with it. Number 3, when you go to McDonald's, you don't even have to supersize it or upsize it. Just get the medium. It's $11. McDonald's for one dude, $11. And that's never going to go back down. That's for the rest of your life you took that pay cut. So let's not be wooed by the siren song of free money, this time in the form of a tariff rebate check. There is no such thing as a free lunch. You will pay for it, and you will pay for it dearly. A quick warning here. This is not going to be a discussion about abortion. This is a discussion about economics. It just so happens to overlap with a very hot button brand out there, Planned Parenthood. Now, Planned Parenthood has 6 locations in Houston. 2 of them are going to close at the end of September. Some of this is being cited for budget cuts or whatever. But we all know what's really hurting Planned Parenthood these days in the state of Texas, and that is pretty much the abolition of abortion. One of the 2 Planned Parenthoods that are closing is the largest Planned Parenthood location in the United States. So there's still going to be 4 left. It's not like they're gone here. But this is interesting because I think you remember your entire life this whole very controversial group, Planned Parenthood. There's always been an issue with them getting taxpayer dollars because it's illegal for taxpayer dollars to be used to fund abortion. However, taxpayer dollars by the millions and billions have gone to Planned Parenthood over the years. And they say, well, none of this went for abortion. It went for these other things, these other services that we provide. Well, money's fungible. So, every dollar that they get from the taxpayer goes to them, whether or not it's used for abortion. It still helps the world's largest abortion provider, or America's largest abortion provider. And I'm not saying that as hyperbole. Somewhere around 2/3 of all the abortions in a given year are done by Planned Parenthood. Now, Planned Parenthood tries to make the case that we're not an abortion mill. We're a women's health care clinic. Yeah, that's the ticket. We do all these other things. We do consultations and maybe a pap smear here and there, and that's all we're getting out of Medicaid. They're just heavenly angels, just trying to do the right thing for underprivileged women. And if you don't want to give them taxpayer money, then why do you hate underprivileged women? Well, you probably saw right through that facade here, because maybe they do some other side projects that do get funding from Medicaid. But Planned Parenthood is most definitely an abortion mill. It's the same lies NPR pulled off all these years when, asking them about their funding, the taxpayer dollars that they get. What? No, this isn't going to pro-government propaganda. We're not just eating up your tax dollars to lobby the public against your personal and constitutional rights. No. Taxes were just a teeny tiny fraction of their funding. Okay, so when we pull it away, what happens? Oh, hundreds of stations are going to close. Oh, sounds like you were lying then. And if everything's on the up and up, why do you have to lie? If you're not an abortion mill, then why are 2 of your 6 Houston locations closing in the absence of abortion? Did the population of Houston shrink by about 2.5 million people? No. Oh, well, it sounds like abortion was keeping you afloat, or at least a couple of your facilities afloat. And let's come back and revisit this in 2, 3, 5 years. See if any more have closed. And that's a great law of economics. You don't have to worry about whether or not abortion is right or wrong. You don't have to worry about whether or not when does life begin. When someone lies to you about funding, when someone intentionally tries to mislead you about the tax dollars that they're getting from you by force, just assume that they're in the wrong. It's a pretty safe bet. Even if you believe in abortion, even if you think abortion's fine and should be legal, shouldn't that business go to people who don't lie to you? When I say abortion, 2/3 of them every year are committed by Planned Parenthood. That means 1/3 are committed by other providers. Some of them are just private providers, just a regular doctor with a regular clinic, not living off taxpayer money. How about you let them get all the business then? Or how about if Planned Parenthood closes down? You think none of these women that were going to them are going to go get a pap smear somewhere else? There's other places that'll take Medicaid for underprivileged people. We don't need the people who are obviously lying to their face so they could shred fetuses to be rewarded by the tax system any longer. But I love seeing this story because it's something that you suspected and I suspected, and we all kind of knew that they were lying. Because they would come up with like the ridiculous statistics of all the services we do every year. Abortions are only 2% of them. Oh, stop it. You're an abortion mill. That whole thing was a lie, and now we know it. Because we didn't take pap smears away and some of your locations closed. It's not like we took away mammograms, which they didn't do mammograms anyway. They would refer you if you needed one or if there was a lump. But all these other services you were doing, we didn't take them away and locations closed. Just one thing. And so not only were you do something that was morally questionable to begin with, you were lying about it, which isn't even morally questionable. We all agree that that's wrong. It's a gross organization they got over there. And do some Google searches on how many times they get caught selling baby parts or fetus parts or whatever. It's gross stuff. Can't wait till you're gone. 800-288-9227. And in the reproductive arena here in Texas, this lady who's running for Texas House District 132. It's actually kind of down in the Houston area. She's a Democrat. Her name's Sarah McGee. She's pretending to be concerned about the declining birth rate in America. They probably love that. Constantly telling you to not have babies and family suck and be a Mary Tyler Moore career girl. And if you do get pregnant, abort it. But listen to this tweet. Speaking of reproduction, she says, this was on Twitter. She says, Democrats, if we want to increase the birth rate in America, we need to support families through paid maternity leave, access to health care, affordable child care, quality public education, and nutrition services for all children. Republicans say, shut up and have your uncle's baby. All right, well, thanks for the nice incestual shot at the Republicans, but Sarah McGee, there have been a lot of countries who have instituted all of those policies for the exact same reasons and with the exact same intent that you just expressed. Paid maternity leave, universal health care, government child care, super public education, nutrition services for all children. Every single country that instituted those policies, their birth rate went down. So what are you even talking about? How do they get to do this? How do they get to go out there and just list a bunch of policies that in every country they're tried have the exact opposite effect of what they say? And then not only do they just run around thinking they're right, people are going to vote for this. This should be humiliating for someone to say something like this. We have people that see, oh, can you believe what a bunch of Nazis American Eagle is? Because Sydney Sweeney made a jeans joke. So they can read into some depth and nuance of stuff that's not even there, but the stuff that's blatantly wrong right in front of your face. Like, she said that. She typed it out. She reread it. She hit send, and it never dawned on her that those policies don't have the result that she's saying they will. She's just saying things that sound nice, and she'll be rewarded for it. Why? Because her supporters have already been convinced you're a Nazi. What they really want to discuss, taxpayer policy, tax rates, Doge, with a Nazi. So the Epstein story is not completely going away, and that's good. I don't want it to go away. You don't want it to go away until we get the damn list. Now, we keep being told that there's a list coming, and that was phase 1. Here comes phase 2. The Department of Justice looking into it. Well, the grand jury's looking into it, and this other judge is looking into it. And look, whatever we got to do to keep this conversation going, let's keep it going. Because there's some people out there who know the answers to these questions, and there's some people out there who deserve to be ruined, to lose their business, to go to jail, probably commit suicide before they go to jail. Because if there's been an international ring of billionaire pedophiles and we can take that down, don't you think that'd make the world a better place? So James Carville, the legendary Democratic strategist, has an interesting theory that maybe it's not being released because Melania is involved.
A key figure in this is Melania. Okay, and I think that's at the bottom of what they don't want to get out, because it was all modeling agencies. Remember, Trump had a modeling agency. Then Epstein got into the modeling agency, and Jean-Luc Bernal, the guy in Paris in the modeling agency, that hung himself. 2 out of the 3 people ended up hanging themselves. There is, I really believe this, Jack, there is a deep, dark secret somewhere underneath all this.
Yeah, I think we agree that there's a deep, dark secret somewhere underneath all that. But Melania, I think a lot of us have trouble even associating women with that level of perversion. But Ghislaine Maxwell was in on the bit. She was the one that was actually recruiting and bringing them to him, the young ladies. So let's not put it past our Overton window of thought that maybe Melania could be involved in this. But it's really hard to fathom here, because in your experience watching the news and my experience telling you about it, all the really weird perversion things happen to be almost exclusively guys. Do you know one woman with a foot fetish? I don't. I know dudes with multiple dudes with the foot fetish. And it's weird, man. Like, you can tell because they know the names of shoes that I don't, or regular old guys don't, straight guys don't. They're like, oh, look at that woman. Which one? The one in the green dress? No, the one in the wedges. The wedges? Oh, you mean like her shoes? What do you have, a foot fetish? That's almost all dudes. Whenever you hear the story in the news about some pervert who put a little hidden camera in a bathroom, 100% dudes. There is no woman that is going into the men's restroom trying to watch us do our business. It's like not a thing. It's not even like, 80 to 20% or 99 to 10%. I believe the toilet cam phenomenon is 100% dudes. So we really have a hard time accepting the fact that a woman could even be rolled into this. However, the same rule that applies to Trump, I think, applies to Melania here. For one thing, is there some way Melania is involved and Trump isn't? And if there's some way Trump is involved, can you fathom a scenario in which they didn't release those files? Some redacted version of the files, or some partial version of the files where they at least release Trump on there? The only thing that's making sense now is there's some setup of mutually assured destruction with the elites on both sides of the aisle. And I don't care. I want them all to go down. Bernie Sanders was asked about this. Ghislaine Maxwell had a couple of interviews, 2 interviews last week with the Department of Justice. Bernie was asked about this. Was this yesterday or 2 days ago? And he did kind of this weird freeze thing. Now, you can't see it, but he gets a different look on his face when he's asked about it. Like when something's in your chair and you sit on it and it just kind of hits you in the right spot. Like, whoa, that hurt. So you don't see his face, but imagine that.
Would you be okay with Congress giving her immunity to testify?
Whoa.
That's what she wants.
I haven't thought about it. I don't know the answer to that.
No position.
You're the first person who was asked me about it.
Okay, well, when you have a position, will you let us know?
You'll be the first.
Senator Bernie Sanders, we always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Not believable. Not believable. You hadn't thought about it? No, really? You hadn't thought about the idea of trading Ghislaine Maxwell for taking down an elite ring of billionaire pedophiles? Because the answer should be absolutely yes. Or the answer should be, maybe partial clemency, or depends on who she gives us, or it depends on how many people she gives us. There should be some wiggle room, not like, I haven't thought about it. Oh, really? You haven't thought about it? You can't have a discussion on that? Oh, you're the first person to ask me. It doesn't matter. No one's asked me today if the world's round, but I already have my answer prepared for that one. So that's not really believable either. How is he not all over this? That guy had to get bought off after he got sacked for 2 elections in a row. Now he runs around with like 3-4 houses. Did someone get to him? So I used to think that he was crazy and he's a socialist, but he's at least an honest socialist. Now I feel like he's got to be rolled up in that too. You've never thought about that. You can't just come up with an answer on the fly. That's too much for you. I'm sorry, sir. Nobody believes you. Nobody should believe you. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we saw people seeing racism in the Sydney Sweeney ad, but no racial concerns for the Cincinnati Jazz Fest attacks. And I think these are broken people. I'll make the case next on The James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.